So guys, keep trades today, December 10th, and man, unfortunate day, right? As you can see the title of the video, how can we avoid stop hunt? Again, we took a beautiful quality setup. Targets were smashed. I was 100% confident that target would be hit. But understand the price action, right? Adapting to conditions, right? So how can we avoid getting stop hunted? Right, let's go to the structure of our setup again. We drew into this 4-hour fair value gap, found the rejection, and we had accumulated a lot of stacked lows here, daily lows on the higher time frame. Rejection broke down aggressively, and we had plenty of stacked daily lows here. So I was confident in that market. If we found a sell model, we would look to run down these daily lows. And our setup, again, a classic setup we take, swept out the accumulation highs. We broke to the downside, forming a 5-minute fair value gap. Coming to the 1-minute entry model, SMT here, inversed the bullish, and I grabbed short. And I just placed my stop at this high. My targets, it was a 10-point stop to profit 32, 36. Again, this was a 3.6R trade, but we understand that the market has been very choppy. It's very slow, very inefficient delivery, right? And we ended up getting stop hunted, stopped out here just for it to go exactly where we wanted to plan, right? So how do we avoid this, right? How can you avoid getting stop hunted in this market? Again, you cannot 100% avoid getting stop hunted. It's going to happen, but how can we minimize it? Number one, we understand that the data was choppy, right? Very choppy, very slow price action. So should I be giving this trade a 9-point risk? Probably not, right? Our average risk is 15 to 20 points, right? 10 to 20 points is our average risk. So giving it a tight stop like this, I was pretty much asking to get stopped out, right? And we look for respect. So if we go to the 5-minute fair value gap that we were looking for confluence at, we can see that, right, the wicks do the damage, the bodies tell the story. If we draw out our fair value gap here, right, where we got stopped out, look at the wicks broke above, right, and stopped me out. But where did we close? We closed here and we closed here. So we are still respecting this fair value gap. So when we got stopped out here, we were still respecting it. So what could I do to potentially change that? I should have probably put my stop like usual, right? Usually we just put it above the high or above the fair value. It's totally fine when we have efficient delivery, but we don't have efficient delivery. We have choppy action. So I should factor the 5-minute by doing what? Candle wick high, which is a classic stop. Or if we zoom into like a 2-minute fair value gap, we can see that just above we had a 2-minute fair value gap here that ended up getting respected. Even then, I could have just placed my stop at that candle. And if we look at our risk here, are we still, 2 to 1? Obviously, we had runner targets that would have smashed. But if we zoom in on our short entry, that's a 17-point risk. That's a normal risk for me to take to make 30 plus points, right? 30 points, and we had a 40-point and a 50-point target, right? We knew the market was slow. We got in the trade, right? We break internal lows. We look great to run lower, and then we start to shit around, right? And what do? We stuck it to our plan totally fine, but a stop loss just above the 5-minute in this choppy action is just not going to work. And also understanding that on the higher time frame, right? I'm not higher time frame, but on the 5-minute, this fair value gap that we got our confluence from was respected. We never disrespected it. If we got a candle closure above, then it makes sense to stop out. We never did. So, in my opinion, the one mistake I made is doing what? Playing too tight of a stop loss. Right? We understand this, right? When price action is choppy and slow, right? We know what? We know that it's not going to be quick, right? It's not going to be a quick trade. It's not going to be quick. It's going to fuck around. How do we mitigate it not being quick? How do we mitigate it messing around? Number one. It's always going to be smaller size, right? We want to give it smaller size. Why? Because the market's slow, because it's inefficient, right? The conditions are not high probability, so you would not put full size position. Number one, small size. Number two is what? Widen stops, give breathing room, right? Did we give this trade a wide stop with breathing room? No, we did not. I entered at 71. A 9-10 point stop loss is not widening my stop. My widened stop should be up here or even up here. Why? Because we're on the higher time frames, right? We had previous day's low targets here, right? We had stacked targets here. We had plenty of reward, 35 to 50 points. So a 20-point stop loss to make 35 to 50 points, that is a great trade in my opinion, right? So how do you avoid getting stop hunted? Number one, understand the price action. Choppy, slow, not efficient. We know the trade's not going to be true. We know it's going to mess around. So how do we mitigate that? We mitigate that, number one, by putting on smaller size. Lower probability of conditions, smaller size. And lastly, widen stops, give breathing room. Right? A stop above the 5 minute is a normal stop loss for me, but I know it's going to mess around. I know it could stop hunt us. So what should we do to mitigate that? We should factor in a bit higher and place stops higher. Even then, we still have a 2-to-1 risk to reward. Right? In my opinion, my stop loss should have been placed at this candle high. And if we closed above the 5 minute, then I probably would have stopped out earlier. But this, in my opinion, should have been my trade. It should have been a 19-point risk to make 30 points to 50. Very quick video, guys. Adapt to price action. Use these small tips, and you will avoid getting stop hunted a lot more. We rarely get stop hunted, but it does happen. And today is just a small mistake, and it's totally fine. Coming tomorrow, CPI fresh. We're going to execute. We're going to get better. That's always. It's a never-ending cycle of growth. We're going to journal. We're going to learn it. We're going to get better. But that's going to be it, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. If you want to join the Discord, we'd love to have you. The link is in the bio. But until next time, guys, peace out.